Hi guys, happy new year to each and every one of you. Welcome to Pixel Affair. It's Kobe here. So this video is actually not going to be a typical tutorial that I do as usual, but then this video is about Chat GPT, an AI that basically you give it some prompts and it generates some text back, and with your guidance you can actually guide it to write almost anything that you want it to, including stuff like codes and scripts, right? So I saw a video of someone using it in another 3D software package to write some Python scripts, and a couple of them worked. So I said, let me try and see whether it can actually write some Python scripts for Cinema 4D. So let's get into Cinema 4D and see how we can use Chat GPT to write our own sort of Python script and see if it actually works. So I'm in Cinema 4D and I'm using Cinema 4D 2023. But before we go into Chat GPT to see what we can do in there, let's first of all quickly set up where we post our script when you get it from Chat GPT. So I'll come into my extensions here and I'll create script manager. Now let me say I have completely no idea how to write codes or Python, whatever. In fact, I didn't even know where to post it until I watched a video tutorial on where when you have a script you have to paste it and everything. That's how come I know you have to post it in the script manager. So I'm completely newbie when it comes to this coding, but I want to see whether actually without my zero knowledge ChatGPT can still make me create something with codes in Cinema 4D, right? So let's quickly set it up. So this is the script manager where we post our script, and in here if you click on this one you can create a new script where we can post our script already. So I click on this to create a new, you can see it's called Untitled. These are scripts from, I think, other extensions, Arnold and stuff like that, right? So these are new scripts. So this is where when we generate something from ChatGPT, we will post it. So let me actually drag and dock it somewhere here on the side, right? So that it always be there. And then there's another thing that we need to do. It's called the console. So this is a console, and that one basically gives us any error that happens. It tells us that this is the reason why your code is not working, and all of this I didn't know initially. I had to watch a tutorial to get to know where to even post it. So like I'm very new and have no idea what I'm doing. So let's actually see, with, like I said, my zero knowledge, maybe if you can do something cool. So I'll now dock this one down here so that any error that we get, we know why we are getting that error, right? So you can click on the advanced here and say clear console, and now I can see there's nothing in here. And with this one we can select everything as we don't need it and just clear it. So we have 0 here. Now let's go into Chat GPT and see how we will generate our script and see if it actually works in Cinema 4D. So I'll open my Chat GPT. So this is the interface for Chat GPT, and you can actually use it to do a lot of things. Now to get to this point, you simply go to Google and probably search for Chat GPT. You get to OpenAI.com and all of that, and you click on this here, try, and you actually bring in, then you actually have to sign up to get in here. Now it does a lot of things. You can use it to write, like I said, almost anything that you want with your guidance, and you get a lot of interesting things in here. It tells you the kind of it gives you the examples that you can use in here and the capabilities and its limitations. You can actually later check it out a bit more, but in here we want to see what you can use it to do in Cinema 4D. So I just wanted to see if it actually knows of Cinema 4D and can do the basics of things, right? So my first prompt is actually going to tell it to write a script that can basically generate any object. So I'll write a script that can, I'll tell it to write a script that can generate a cube in Cinema 4D. So this is where you type in your prompt. So I'll type here, write a Python script that generates a cube in Cinema 4D, right? So I'm saying write a Python script that generates a cube in Cinema 4D, and I'll just click it down, enter on this arrow here, and you see, to generate a cube in Cinema 4D, Python would need to use Cinema 4D's Python API. that will allow you to. So it will give you some basic explanation, then you go ahead to write the code up here for you. After that, we'll see if it actually works. Then it will come here, this code will create a new object inside. It gives you some other things, right? We didn't actually specify the size of the cube and anything. I just said something basic. So let's see if actually this code can actually work. So I'll just click copy code, and let's go into our Cinema 4D, and then I'll just type in here. I'll hit Control V to paste it and click on execute, and you can see it's giving me this error. So now the error that it's giving me is saying the file, all of this. So all I'll do is now select all of this, all right, and I'll hit Control C to copy, and I'll come into Chat GPT again, and I'll say, okay, this is the error I'm getting. I'll paste it in here, and I'll see what happens. And now it's figured like what's going on in the error, so it's now trying to see if it can actually solve the issue. So now it's rewriting the script again, right? And let's see if it actually works. So you can see now at first it just gave us a cube size of 5, but now it's giving us 5 by 5 by 5. So let's see, it's now finished writing the script. So I can just copy, and let's go back into Cinema 4. You can simply select all of this and clear it, and now repaste this one, and now let's execute, and you can see now it's created a cube for us with a size of 5 by 5 by 5, right? Let me actually see in the code if I can actually increase the size of the cube. So I type in 0, 50 by 50 by 50 here, all right, and now let's execute once again, and now you can see it's actually gone ahead to create a 50 by 50 cube. So it basically can actually generate a cube, right? An object in Cinema 4D. So this time it's a cube. Even though I didn't give it any dimension, it actually gave it its own dimension. And this is really cool. I mean, for it to actually, I don't know how I actually do this. And this is very basic. You don't need a script to do something like this, right? But I just wanted to see if it can do it. So let's try and do something a little different, something. So let's see if it can generate multiple objects as well. So I'll come back into Chat GPT, and this time I'll actually try and see if it can do something like multiple copies of objects. So I'll say write a Cinema 4D Python script that generates like say 16 cubes in a grid array with a spacing of like say 50 and a size of like 30. Let's actually try and get a bit specific with it. So let's see. So write a Cinema 4D Python script that generates 16 cubes in a grid array with spacing of 50 and a size of 30. And let's click on this to see if it can actually do that. So it's actually going ahead to type in all of those things. And now and one thing about it, it's very sure about itself. Like, so when it tells you to generate it gives you exact from, even though sometimes it can actually get it not so right. Certain things might be wrong, but it's very sure about it. So like I'm saying, I have no idea what's happening in here, right? So I probably don't know, maybe if there's some small mistake, I probably can change it in there, but I just leave it to do its own thing. And if there's an error, I just copy it back. So now it's done generating the code for us. Let's come back into Cinema 4D, right? And let's create, you can simply clear this, but if you want, you can create a new one, just clicking on this to create a new script. Select the whole thing and just delete it. And now let's paste the code, Control V to paste it. And now let's delete these ones, you don't need them, and see generate, and you can see what is done. Actually, it's actually generated more cubes than I expected, but then it's really cool, right? And in the grid array form. So this is what the AI actually went ahead, but it's not showing in the object manager. I don't know why, but if you click in here, I think it's, or click in the interface, you see all your cubes now pop up. I don't know why it didn't show immediately, but yeah, this is what it did. So it's quite interesting, and I was sort of impressed, even though I have no idea, because I don't know anything about code. That's why I'm impressed, right? So let's actually see if it can do something else. Let's say write a Cinema 4D Python script that generates 16 spheres in a radial, like let's try a radial fashion. So let's go back to Chat GPT again and say, let's write a Cinema 4D Python script that generates 16 spheres in a radial array with a radius of 30. And let's hit generate to see if it can do this one as well. So initially it gives us something in a grid array, right? Which there's no way I can code it if you give me 1,000 years, probably, unless I have to learn this. So yeah, now it's doing the same, another thing with spheres in a radial array, right? And let's see if it can do that one as well. And when it's done, we simply go in here and just copy our code, right? So it tells you after it's done, it explains this code will generate a radial array of 16 spheres with 30 units and all of that. So I'll just copy and I'll go back to Cinema 4D once again. Let's actually open a new scene so that, because you have all these cubes. In fact, you can clear out all of these cubes. So I can select Control A, all of them, and just clear them. And now let's create a new script page, and now select all of this, clear them, and I'll just hit Control V to paste them. Let's execute, and true, it does it. Like, you can see it's generated these spheres, and can see it's showing in the interface like these spheres, 16 of them, and in a radial array. If I select them and probably make them and reduce the radius, yeah, so it basically works. But now these are things you don't necessarily want to use scripts to do. These are very basic stuff you can use Cinema 4D things to do. You don't need any script or Python to do this thing. I just wanted to test it. So one thing, let me try and see if I can actually use it to do something like something that can solve a real world solution, right? So let's see what we can do with that. So now that we've generated these radial clones, let's see if we can actually generate a script that will probably connect them with splines, right? So I'll say, let's go to Chat GPT and say, write a Python script that connects selected objects with splines, right? So let's see, write a Python script that connects selected objects with splines in Cinema 4D and see if it can actually do that. So let's hit on this to see. It takes a bit of time, like seconds, and it starts generating. Let's hope this actually can work. So it's doing its all explanation to connect selected objects with splines Cinema 4D using Python. You can use the c4d.spline object, to class, create all of that. Let's see, it's doing the code generating and all of those things. Let's give it a second, and when it's done, we will post it inside Cinema 4D and see if it works. And hopefully, I just hope this one works. If actually this one works, it will be something that I probably might use. And I'm actually doing this, especially with this prompt. I'm actually doing this on the fly. I've not rehearsed it. So let's see, copy, come into Cinema 4D. Let's create a new tab, Control A to select all of them to delete it. And now let's hit Control V to paste it. In fact, let's clear our advanced console so that there's nothing in here. And now this is the script that it give us. We have all our objects selected, and let's execute to see. Nothing happens. Oh, unfortunately, nothing happens. Let's see, select, execute. Still nothing happens. Like, looks like this not working. So okay, so like I said, it's not working, but it's giving us the error. So you can simply select the error, copy, and go back to Chat GPT and hit Control V to paste it in here, and hit enter to see. Like, it's, so we've given it the error, and it's telling us why it thinks it's not working. It looks like the insert point method is not available for Cinema 4D spline objects. So so it's probably trying to recreate it again, and let's see if it can go ahead and finish it so that we can use it in Cinema 4D, and hopefully, it works. It's generating, and this one looks like it's quite a long one, so it's still taking some time. But yeah, well, it's done. So it says this code will create new spline and use the insert point method to add point to the spline at the position of each selected object, whatever. Let's copy and come to Cinema 4D once again. Let's select all of these, Control A, clear them, and hit Control V to repaste them. And let's make sure we have our object selected and hit execute. Still nothing happens. Let's clear our console and execute once again, and it looks like still nothing happens again. So still it's giving us an error on Control A. Let's try it one more time. If it doesn't work, maybe we have to try something else. So I come to Chat GPT once again and post in this error and see if it can actually sort this one. At first it was where is it? At first it was line 15, now it's line 18. So maybe it keeps going down, eventually clear it or something. But hopefully, let's hope this one works. So doing it thing once again. I'm hoping this one actually works, that you have selected objects and now you can create splines to connect them. That actually can really be useful in some projects, right? Even though, yeah, the tracer object can do that, but let's see. It's doing its calculations and stuff. If this doesn't work, we probably might have to try something else. So I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any question and further assistance. Okay, so let's copy it once again, come in here and let's clear this. Control V, paste it once again. Let's clear our advance, and now let's select multiple objects, hit execute. It looks like still not working. Now it's talking about spline. It's line number 21, so it's still not working, but I don't know why, right? Let's actually try something else which probably can work with this spline. I think it's struggling to get it, so let's try something. I want to see if we can actually use it in something that can be useful in real world, like in real projects, right? So let's try something else like resizing of object. Let's see. So I'm in Chat GPT once again. So let's write a script that resize the size or the scale of any object to say 50 centimeters, right? So you say write a script that resize any object to the scale of 50 centimeters, right? So let's hit play and see if actually these two can work. So to resize any object, it's giving the explanation as usual, and let's see what the script does. So it's basically done writing the script, and let's see if this actually works. So let me hit control click on the copy script, and let's Control A to select it, and now hit Control V to paste it, and let's clear this one as well. And we have object selected. Let's actually select one to see and hit execute, and it actually works. Wow. So you can see it rescale the sphere to 50 centimeters, like I said. Which of them is that? This. Let's see. So it's actually using the object scale, but I probably wish you. But basically, it works, right? So if I select all of these and let's hit execute, I think it does it one object at a time, right? So let's see if I select this object and put in S here. There's something I learned in the process of figuring out how to do this in Stanford, and I hope this one works. If I select all of them and hit execute, still not working. But basically, if you do select one object at a time, let's clear the S that I added. Execute, you can see it scales the object up and it actually worked by actually using the object skill, which I mean in this case I don't necessarily want, but then it's sort of working, right? Probably in some cases it can be useful, but the point is that because I don't know anything about Python and scripting and everything, maybe even with the ones trying to connect splines and all of that, probably there might probably be a couple of things I should have changed, and the script probably would have worked, right? But because I have completely no idea, I don't know where to go, where to what to touch to change anything, so I just had to keep pushing it back to the Chat GPT to see if it can actually read, but it keep giving me that error and everything. But one thing that I feel this thing has actually done is that it's actually boosted my interest in trying to learn a little bit more about scripting and Python and everything. Because I know if probably I know, like, let's say a little bit of it and understand, how things work within coding, it probably would have, guided me to do certain things in here, and it can get me to actually write something real useful and very powerful like in Cinema 4D. So I think this is a good thing, even though I don't think at this point, like you can, if like with my level of knowledge, if you have no idea, you can use it to do anything very significant. But I feel like if you give it like say a month or three or probably some 6 months or something to learn a little bit about scripting or Python in Cinema 4D, you probably might understand enough to be able to help you generate something a bit complicated, which probably might have taken you, let's say, some years before you could do that. So this is one thing I came up with, and like I said, it's actually boosted my interest in trying to learn a little bit of code, which has been something I have thought of earlier, but I thought it was far-fetched, it was too ahead. I felt like it would be difficult for me and everything, but then knowing with a little bit of knowledge I can do something, and like this Chat GPT can be like a starting point for you to start building on anything. It feels like, I mean, it's something that will be on my bucket list of the things to learn probably in 2023. But then I don't know how useful this video, I feel this video is not really like educative in terms of like showing some technique, but I feel like it's a bit of informative. Maybe it might trigger somebody somebody who understands coding and everything is Mafodi, want to actually explore it a bit more and all of that, and see through that we can get a lot of interesting tools in Cinema 4D. That's basically it about Chat GPT. I want to see what you guys probably can come up with using it on your own to generate stuff, and maybe if you come up with any creative things, you can let us have it in the comment section and everything. And like I said, going up in the coming months, I'll actually play around with it to see, and I'll learn a little bit more about coding to see if I can generate anything interesting, and if I'm able to, I'll definitely share it with you guys. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope probably you got something from this, and I'll see you in the next one in the coming video.